Turbo conquering Mega Eagle, and look at my lovely big pile of copper, hey? Right, this isn't actually that long that I've been collecting this. About a year ago, a bit more, you know, a year and a half ago, I traded, you know, a big stash of copper for a few bits off the scrap man. He was happy, I was happy. And these are bits that either I didn't want to trade with him or I've collected since. So I've actually done quite well. We've got a couple of rads, my Mark 1 still. I'm on Mark 2 at the minute, so this one I'm not using anymore. But what I'll save the sheet copper off this. You know, cut that main cylinder up and just save it as a sheet somewhere where it won't take up any room. But the rest of it, or maybe I'll save a bit of that pipe as well. But the rest of it is scrap. We've got real shame here. Nice big old Brook motor, but it's completely fucked. I'm pretty sure the shaft's bent as well. So there's no real way any of that can be salvaged. You know, I'll keep hold with the iron bits for a while. If anyone's got one with smashed up end bits, let me know. You know, I'd happily see them be used again. What various plumbing bits? These got brass fittings on them still, so I'm going to whip them off. Coil out the heater tank from where the steel was originally manufactured. Loads of different sorts of wiring. We've got every conceivable sort of wiring from household supply, heavy industrial, or not really heavy industrial, I think that's just armoured sort of standard 100 amp cable, isn't it? Lighter domestic wire down to automotive wire. I saw a bit earlier, yeah, there we go, there's a starter cable, or battery pos cable, whatever. We've got alternators, starters. These are all seized anyway. I've been sat outside too long. I think they're all knackered, which is why they were sat outside in the first place. Bigger bits of copper fittings. You know, loads and loads of bits and bobs. What other exciting bits have we got? Insides of motors, various projects that I made. These were attempts at pumping for the underground bunker with switches on them, but I made them out of copper. Anything else? Any more for any more? Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, so the aim of this video is to condense this all into some ingots. If you remember the last video, I made some refined some zinc from old car wheel weights, and it's my intention to make some naval brass. That's going to be a little way off, and in the meantime I'm working on steel Mark 3. Probably won't put this on YouTube, but I want a nice copper lid for this. So it's an old milk churn. I've been acquiring a few bits and pieces here and there. This is you know, I want to do it with electricity. It's just so much more controllable. So I can weld a tri-clamp fitting onto the side of this, and then have a removable what's the name, heating element. I think that's, can't remember what wattage that is. It's not a huge one, but yeah, I want to make a flange for the top of this. So copper doesn't cast at all well, which is why you'll never see cast copper components until today. Because it does some pretty weird stuff, you know. Like when you get it molten, it absorbs, you know, all the gases around it, and then as it solidifies, it expels them again. Yeah, so you'll see we'll end up with something that's, you know, roughly the same shape as what we're trying to cast, but with a load of veins and very, very poor dimensional tolerance. So, but this being round, I can just cast it oversized, make a nice big flange that will take a 2-inch pipe, and then, you know, quite easily machine it. Copper doesn't machine too well, but It's going to give me a nice lid to this still anyway. So I'll make that the first job with the casting, and then after that it'll all get turned into ingots. I might make a new ingot mould, just because we've got quite a lot of material, and it's going to be a bit tedious using that little one. And to melt it, I'm going to dig the my very early, one of the first videos I ever made on this channel was making a waste oil foundry, which worked exceedingly well. Put a lot of time and effort into that thing, and just haven't used it since because it's such a dirty thing. But I think with this quantity here, I've got a decent enough excuse to drag it out, set it up, and melt this little lot down. It'll, you know, with this pile of stuff gone, it will give me a bit more space outside and keep things tidier. But mainly set me up for making some nice brass bits in the future. Yeah, the ultimate aim being to alloy up my my own special brand of naval brass, which you can't really buy anymore because it's got lead in it and people don't like it. But it's meant to be quite good with corrosion and machinability. Kind of sad how old-fashioned tellies don't exist anymore because I've smashed them all up. No, seriously though, so much bloody work goes into these things. Some of them are, you know, some of the bits are just gorgeous, aren't they? Just gorgeous, but completely unnecessary. I suppose that's happened, you know, happens with every technological advancement, isn't it? Check this out. I didn't have the camera going because I didn't expect it to come out in one piece. Look at that, isn't that lovely? Oh. It almost feels like a solid, it's wound so tight and there's so much lacquer on it. Might not even be copper, you know. Right, the thing with some of these wires, isn't it? They're but this is probably old and I don't know, whatever, it's going in the pot. It's easy, it's quite a bit of weight there as well. Hope it is copper, probably not, but hey. Old-fashioned plumbing fittings have a lot of metal in them. Eh? This is all brass, so this is going in the brass bin. Even the old imperial sized pipes have got a much bigger wall thickness, so they're a lot heavier than the new ones. Kind of a shame really, because I don't know, it's not like every day a copper pipe fails in your house, is it? I suppose they don't have to be this thick. They do look nicer though. the alternator core. Yeah. Fortunately, I've got a press now, isn't it? We can push the shaft out, and be a lot easier to get to the copper. Bong. Maybe not. Yeah, that should pop apart, I suppose. That came out nice. That was a pretty good recovery method. And you get these awesome bits of cast iron as well. What are we going to use those for, eh? There's got to be a use, isn't there? Huh? What? I don't know. Ideas on a postcard, lads. They look like either something that needs to be used for a burning machine or a underground bunker tunnelling machine, the cutting heads. I don't know. Okay, so look how far we got. The big pile is gone. Obviously, the sheet metal from the steel I saved. I'm not going to melt that down, but the rest of it is in there. And that motor, I just can't bring myself to cut it up, you know. Any suggestions? I don't know. That I started pulling the fins out of this radiator. They're not coming away cleanly, so you know, at some point when I do a brass melt, I'm just gonna, you know, fold the whole lot in together, hammer it up, and it'll be turned into brass. You know, monkey metal brass, not my A-grade bunker brass. That one obviously isn't even copper. What else? What else haven't I done? Yeah, there's a couple of motors there. Both. No, that one's. I have no idea where this one came from, but the bonding of the wire is it's not as tight. It doesn't knock out. It's I don't know. I'm going to set fire to that anyway. Whatever. See what happens. Hopefully I can burn that out. And then this one, same sort of thing but different. This is one of the starter motors. This is a lovely bit of metal in here. There's, you know, solid lumps of copper there, not a strand. But they're just too tight, so I was wasting a load of time going nowhere with that. Got the rest of it off. Nice chunky bits of metal on the commutator, but again, I'll probably set fire to that, see if it will loosen it up a bit at some point next time I do this, which goodness knows when that'll be. This was the heating element from a power shower. Not going to bother with that because it's all well, maybe that bit on the bottom there. That'll go in the next time pile. But what have we got? Added significantly to the brass bucket, which is good, which is always good. This is the slightly suspect bucket. That's little bits that are going to go straight in the foundry. This is what I'm pretty certain is good quality copper. Quite a lot there, not as much as I would have hoped for. And obviously we've got some bonus bits, pulleys, always useful, keep them, and just a big chunk of steel, I'll probably use that at some point, and these cool bits out the alternators. Don't know what we're going to do with those. There's got to be a use. Look at that. Look at that shape. It's the most. Make little trivets for Sunday roast, couldn't we? Eh? Okay, finished the ingot moulds. Still got a few little bogies on there, but that'll be alright. So what I've done with this one, the original one, is just build up a load of weld and then take it all back with the die grinder. It should pop out of there nicely now. There's a few little crevices, I'm sure you can see that. Over there, but I don't know. It's not that that's grabbing hold of them. It's the fact that I didn't have any draft on the on the ends of these things. That's one. This one, same again. Although I put a little bit of an angle on the angle iron on this side, or the cut, I should say, at the end of these sections of angle iron. So it started off with draft, but then I also stuck some weld in there and worked it back with the diddly die grinder. These are quite a lot longer. These are 6-inch ingots we'll get out of here, and these are little 3-inch ingots. So I guess I'll have a stockpile of stuff that will go in my small crucibles and stuff that will go in my large crucibles. Should work out nicely, I hope. Alright. Yeah, let's drag the foundry out and see if I can remember how it operates. Okay, so this is the mighty oil burner. I've melted copper with it before. I'm pretty sure it'd do iron. It breezed through the copper, absolutely pisses aluminium. This is the remains of an old house brick that I had the crucible sat on. It's pretty much turned a house brick into glass. Pretty cool. Okay, so last time I used it was probably getting on for 5 years ago. At a time when this channel only had as many subscribers. I took a little air compressor, and that feeds these regulators. I also put a fan on the back of the air compressor motor, so rather than the original cooling fan, it's got a centrifugal fan there which will supply the force draft to the foundry. Yeah, it comes up here, splits to these two regulators. One of these, the oil one, goes into the tank, I think. I need to remember. And the air one goes straight to the burner. Yeah, so this is basically a pressure fuel tank with an outlet at the bottom, and then so we've got pressurized waste oil, and the other one's the air coming off the regulator, and they feed into a bit of hex that blows the high pressure air over the oil nozzle, and so the whole lot comes out in a bit of a mist. It's not perfect. It's a little bit tricky to start, but it does work once it gets going. Once we get some heat in there, it'll be lovely. Right, let's fire it up, see what happens. I just check my tongs. I've never used these tongs in this foundry, so they fit nicely. There's actually loads of space in here. This is kind of getting a little bit tatty. Some of it's loose. This is the higher temperature foundry cement, refractory cement, and then I plastered the whole lot with fire clay, but the fire clay is not great. It's sort of peeling away. It's fine though, should work. I wouldn't be devastated if it fell apart, because I quite like to rebuild this whole thing. I think if I made it lighter and smaller, I don't know why I made it so high, stupid, but you got to learn somehow by mistakes normally, with me anyway. Yeah, make it a lot lower and use the wall blanket ceramic blanket because it's bloody heavy at the minute. I could probably, you know, if it all fell apart, I could keep what's in the bottom there because that's not being touched by the heat. Just get rid of this heavy bit of cement here and repack it with a ceramic wool, and I'll probably use it a bit more then. Yeah, anyway, let's fire it up and see what happens. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Hey, still a bit of heat in the foundry, but can't really go any further because it started collapsing. Then once it started collapsing, it wasn't putting the heat on the crucible. It was all you know, most of the burning was taking place above it. This is supposed to burn the fuel in the pipe. I remember it glowing red hot, but like it is, it's not really working like this. What should be happening here? It should be getting you know, combustion in the pipe. I suppose the end of the pipe wasn't getting hot enough. I don't know. Either way, it's self-destructed before its time. I was hoping I'd be able to get all this copper melted and then maybe try a bit of iron in this, and that would probably finish the insulation off, and then I could reline it with something better. But what? I don't know. That thing worked okay, but you know, as okay as it ever did. But you know, the fan's obviously not ideal. I think it would be a lot better with a bit more blast in here. And I remember the thing that I always meant to put on is a fuel shut off, because at the minute I've got to wait for the tank pressure to drop before the fuel slows down, but that's really not a good idea, is it? You know, you want more instant, you know, better responsiveness. Either way. So this represents about half the wiring. Yeah, the wiring really doesn't make much copper, does it? Still a bit warm. I should probably polish one up just for the algorithm. I bet you lot would like that as well. I mean, not that I wouldn't, but I could just put a sanding disc over it quickly, I suppose, couldn't I? Okay, there's your treasure shot, folks. I'm not going to go any more than that because you know, I'd just be wasting copper then, wouldn't I? Still knobbly bobbly on the bottom. But I know how some of you feel about shiny stuff, yeah? Well, so obviously the foundry fell apart. That needs relining. Knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and it's cleaned up okay. I don't know whether it's just because this is all the wiring basically. I haven't actually started melting down all the nice bits of plumbing in that. They'll be a lot cleaner. I didn't flux it or anything because the foundry started falling apart, so there'll be more copper melting videos, I'm sure, and you know, be happy in the knowledge that like you got to see the original concrete foundry before it disintegrated, I suppose, and we can all look forward to a slightly modified version. Yeah, there's a few things, you know, that I've seen other people do that I want to do, like have the top lift off, you know, some sort of mechanism that fucking trains every single time. Did you hear the horn on that one? It's bastards. Either way, I can't remember what I was saying now, but yeah, new forge, new foundry rather, and maybe some graphite crucibles next time I do something like this. But I've got the filler primer for the moulds now, so I'll straighten this place out, get rid of all this shit, and get back on with the important stuff. This is important, by the way. I mean, this leads towards the bunker alloy, which then means we can festoon everything in brass down there, which is, you know, the most important thing, really, I suppose. If your bunker's not covered in brass, then you're just an average Joe, aren't you? Hey, yeah. Right, so that's it. Semi-successful. Glad I didn't get any of those chunks of flying copper in my face. That's why I had my my firefighter's hat on, which is very good, although the visor's starting to yellow quite badly now and I can barely see anything out of it. So I'm going to keep my eye out for a new visor for that hat, 'cause it's a very nice hat. It's got a neck shield as well, which is excellent when you're sort of bent over. The wool charity shop wool jacket, I like these things ever so far retardant, from my experience. Weld spatter, grinding, sparks, whatever, barely touch a nice wool jacket. This one was like £4 or something, and some decent gloves, and I've got my polyurethane welly boots on as well. These things are quite good with the sparks too, better than normal rubbery boots. They're quite nicely insulated as well. They don't conduct as well as rubber, so perhaps tracksuit bottoms were a bit of a mistake, but yeah, I got away with it. So taking sensible precautions definitely paid off this time. All right, okay, yeah, that's about it then, folks. Anyway, I'll be back soon with the finished moulds for the bunker, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.